Proceeds to sickbay. The doctor should look at it as soon as possible.
It is the way in which we propagate our species. Please demonstrate how this is accomplished. So, what's next? I don't know.
Hi, and welcome to Casual Trek, a Star Trek recap and ranking podcast brought to you by Nerd and Ty and the Brundlefly Machine. Fed up of having to cook? Become a half-fly and eat poop instead. I'm Charlie Etheridge Nunn, a writer and a Fringe fan.
And I'm Miles Lobato, a science fiction writer and a fan of Vincent Price.
Oh, just in general?
Just in general, you know.
Yeah, it always seems like good fun.
Yeah.
So, each episode we watch stories from normally 3 different Star Trek shows and rank them on a big list of best to worst, but this time we're doing another 2-parter. And in fact, we are not straying too far from recent coverage. We're doing something Voyager adjacent, but we're also doing animated only shows here. So that was a fun challenge to do and allowed me to talk about a fun episode of Lower Decks. But before we get on to that, Mars, what non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying since we last spoke?
Well, I have been reading some classic 2000 AD, and I have been reading the first collected volume of Dan Dare, the 2000 AD years. That's right, I have been reading the exploits of Dan Dare, space hyperhero. Hey, kids, you ever heard of Dan Dare from that boys comic, The Eagle, that your grandfather really liked? Well, what if this, square-jawed upper school, handout in friendship, very kind of best of British space hero got updated for the punk rock 70s. He swears now. He punches. He uses guns. This is Dan Dare, space hyperhero. The first of many attempts to reboot Dan Dare. I might say one of the more successful ones. And you have the Grant Morrison attempt in the 90s. You have the various rebooted Eagle of the 80s and 90s. And then you have that really, really bad Garth Ennis one from the early 2000s done by Virgin Comics, which is basically Garth Ennis in full, aren't British soldiers great? Aren't soldiers great and better than you? And isn't Tony Blair basically evil? Which, taps into the zeitgeist.
Fair with that latter part, but
yeah, the Dan Dare 2000 AD stuff is very uneven, but it has that kind of pure shot of adrenaline, which is that kind of early 100 or so issues of 2000 AD to a T.
Yeah, I found the first incarnation of him in 2000 AD still a little square, but once he starts getting his entourage with people like Hitman, who has a gun glued to his hand, and with the Space Fortress and all of that, it becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah, I'm midway through the Space Fortress stuff now. I just finished reading the Star Slayer storyline, which is a lot of fun, and it's full on 2000 AD doing war comic stuff in space.
Excellent.
And so, Charlie, what about you? What non-Star Trek thing have you been enjoying?
Well, I've been addicted to Hades 2. It's just come out recently on the Switch too, and my partner and I have been not necessarily fighting over the Switch for it, but there's definitely been that apportioning an amount of time of okay, I'll do an amount of runs and then hand it over to her. And have you played the first Hades?
Very briefly.
So it's a roguelike game. You are, in this case, Melanoi rather than Zagreus, and you're a child of Hades, and things have gone a bit awry since the end of the last game. So you're fighting your way down to the underworld and down to Hades instead of up from it. And it's one of those games where there keep being new elements, new things, which has been great fun. I befriended a frog.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm sure there are better animal familiars to have, but the frog hops around and does a merry little dance whenever I finish a room, so the frog remains.
Yeah, that's cool. I need to play Hades, but then at the same time, I need to get back to the games I've actually paid money for, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is always an issue, and I just finished Donkey Kong Bonanza and Hades 1 recently, so I feel I'm giving myself some time with this before diving back into Mario Sunshine and Death Stranding 2. Mario Sunshine, I keep finding myself in those levels where there's a lot of intricate platforming,
Yep.
Your backpack is taken away, so you can't finesse it by kind of jumping and spraying water a bit. And the GameCube tech isn't quite there yet.
Gotcha.
As far as like camera movement, and Mario's shoes are so fucking slippy. I keep over landing and keeping going and falling to my death. So yeah, it's one of those things of it's definitely making me miss Astrobot.
Well, clearly Mario doesn't buy safety slip shoes.
No, and you'd think as a plumber that he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, all them slips and trips in the workplace.
Clearly the Mushroom Kingdom cares not one jot for basic health and safety.
Well, let's face it, most of the time it's toads that'll be fixing things, and those are mushrooms, they'll just grow anywhere. So if a bunch of them die trying to do some routine maintenance, Peach can grow some more.
Yeah, she's not openly kind of evil like Princess Bubblegum, but I'm sure she's there.
Well, yeah.
The thing is, she's a monarch. So even the ones which appear the nicest definitely have, they're a monarch. They're inherently trustworthy.
Well, yeah. How did that kingdom come to power? Like on the backs of many dead toads.
But we're not here to cruelly deconstruct the Super Mario series of games. That's if you fund us on our $20 level on Patreon. Eventually.
One day, yeah. Yeah, we're here to talk about Star Trek. First up, we have Star Trek Prodigy, a series which I've kept meaning to go back to. So it's quite nice actually returning to it. And these are episodes 9 and 10 of Season 1, titled A Moral Star. These aired on the 27th of January and the 3rd of February 2022. Written by Kevin and Dan Hagman, Julie Benson, Shauna Benson, Lisa Schultz-Boyd, Nikhil L. Jairam, Deandra Pendleton-Thompson, Chad Quant, and Aaron J. Waltke. That's the entire writer's room. Directed by Ben Hyben. The UK #1 hit was the Encanto cast with We Don't Talk About Bruno, and the US had first Adele with Easy on Me, and then the Encanto cast with We Don't Talk About Bruno. I've still not seen Encanto.
Encanto's fine.
Yeah.
You're asking the wrong person because, I'm a man, I was born in the 80s, so therefore the only Disney stuff I ever saw were, the TV cartoons. Because I get the feeling that my parents assumed that all the kind of the Disney Renaissance were mostly, girls' films. And like I said, young man born in 80s England, even in Brighton, there is going to be some gender norm enforcement.
My babysitter showed us Universal Monster and Disney movies back in the day. And I think some of them, like Sword in the Stone and Robin Hood, were some of the cheapest videos to rent at the video box up the road.
Yeah, as a kid, I definitely saw ones like the Robin Hood, the Jungle Book, 101 Dalmatians. I don't know, I think with all the kind of the Aladdins and the Beauties and the Beasts, my mum wasn't taking me to movies. I get the feeling that my stepfather wasn't going to take me to those movies either.
Oh yeah, both my parents had their own issues with not necessarily America in general, but certainly an amount of the culture like the Disney movies. So it was either affordability or a third party that had shown me them. And then I think the last one I saw before getting together with my partner was the late Dave of Dave's Comics had a shoplifter on retainer. And that'd mean that we'd occasionally get DVDs or anything. But, when he was lifting some things, but Dave had no use for them. The animated Tarzan was one of those.
A shoplifter on retainer?
Yeah.
Okay, we're having a further discussion offline.
Yes, yeah.
The Disney's Tarzan film is a pretty good one.
It's fine.
Okay, am I biased because Brian Blessed is playing the villain? Yes.
Yeah.
It was funny to rewatch that film recently with my wife after reading, for the first time, Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan of the Apes, and going, yeah, that's not how his parents died. His parents are killed by the fucking apes.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. And, yeah, okay, it cuts out a lot of the kind of 1920s racism. It cuts out basically most of the book.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the book, but the book has one of the best parts where Tarzan can read English, but he can't speak English. and he rescues a French explorer who asks to teach English, and the explorer, so he can communicate, teaches him French, but it's only after teaching him French perfectly that the Frenchman goes, shit, if I want to teach him English, I have taught him the wrong language to start with, because English and French are two entirely different and difficult languages, which was a really funny joke for a 1920s book. Also, Brian Blessed gets like the most gruesome Disney death in that film. And like, it's great. You know what? I love a good gory discretion shot and a good neck snapping discretion shot. And that's definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah, so, rather than recapping Disney's Tarzan, Miles, I believe you're up first to recap A Moral Star.
Okay, and since this is a two-parter, I assume I'm going to get the regular episode length of 5 minutes?
Yeah. Starting now.
The Protostar receives a message from the Diviner. Return the Protostar to him and he'll release the prisoners of his mind. Otherwise, the prisoners will suffer. Which is one of those kind of kid-friendly ways they can get around saying death in a kid's cartoon. At least it's not as bad as the 90s dub for Dragon Ball Z, where instead of dying, people got sent to another dimension. Jakim Pog thinks that they should go contact the Federation. They can't even take care of themselves, much less liberate an entire prison. Unfortunately, by the time Starfleet arrives, it'll be too late, and all those miners will be sent to another dimension. They only have enough power for one warp, either the Federation or back to the planet of the prison kind of planet asteroid of Taslim Mora. Holo Janeway tells them that the decision lies with Dal, who is the captain. Dal, unlike the rest of the crew, is kind of unconvinced of taking the risk. They could lose everything, and he doesn't want to lose any of the crew. It's a no-win scenario. It's a proper Kobayashi Maru, and so he's in, but it can't just be one of Dal's half-baked plans where they kind of improvise on the fly. It's got to be getting everyone working together to get a plan. It is now time for the Protostar crew of scrappy malcontents to quite literally go do a Starfleet. A-team montage! Bam, ba, 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 bam, bam. Wearing the Starfleet cadet uniforms for the first time, the crew head to Taslim Mora. Holo Janeway tells them that they may never truly have felt like Starfleet before, but they're doing a desperate mission. They're Starfleet for now. They warp to Taslim Mora, and the Diviner lets them enter. Zero is worried that if he's caught, the Diviner will use his Medusan telepathic talents as a weapon yet again. The crew disembark, Dal telling the Diviner that Holo Janeway is going to self-destruct the Protostar if they sense any funny business from the Diviner. The Diviner sees the Federation of uniforms and gets angry, seeing it as a sign of hypocrisy, and tells them that the plan has changed and that Gwyn is coming with him. Gwyn agrees, demanding that the prisoners are freed with a chance to escape using the Taslim Mora's prison colony built-in ship, the Red 12. She sees this as a chance to get redemption for the fact that she let the crew get captured and tortured and did nothing. The prisoners are released. The Diviner, his robot associate Dreadnought, and Gwyn enter the Protostar. Jankim wonders why he feels like they lost, and it's because we did the right thing, says Dal. Dreadnought overrides the Holo Janeway to be evil Holo Janeway in black clothes and goth makeup, and the ship takes off. The Diviner locks weapons on the Red 12's energy systems, plan to leave them stranded with no power and eventually no life support. Curse your inevitable and obvious betrayal! Gwyn watches helplessly as the gravity on Taslim Mora starts to fail. The Diviner demands the engines to the Protostar be regenerated so they can proto-warp out. Gwyn demands answers, and the Diviner realizes that Gwyn is hiding something, that before they landed, the crew hid the protocore inside Murph, who was actually hiding inside one of Zero's old bodies. It was all an act. Zero had beamed down earlier with a case of thruster units. They might not have gravity, but Dahl's plan is still in effect. Save the miners, save the day. This is proper heist movie. We made you think this, but we actually had this plan for all along. And now, the conclusion. Gwyn attacks the Diviner with her gold arm bracelet sword thingy, but since the weapon was a gift from the Diviner is able to turn it into manacles as the Diviner preps the Protostar to return to Taslim Mora. Dal and the rest of the crew split up to get the miners to gather at the Red 12. Their Starfleet badges allow the miners to finally communicate because they've all been speaking their own native languages as a way to keep them separate and isolated. And in one case of two miners, allowed them to finally declare their undying love for each other. The security drones come back online as Jakim and Rock find the very trashed engine of the Red 12. Rock Talk, due to events in the previous episodes, is now like a science engineering genius due to time travel shenanigans, and is able to fix the engines using Murph and the Protocore. The Protostar returns as Rock gets the engines working. Dreadnought beams into the engine room. The miners burst into the engine room and tear Dreadnought apart, now able to work together since their manacles have been turned into universal translators.
Ooh, time! And carry on!
But, despite Dreadnought's destruction, the Diviner has been able to transport out the Protocore, and the Proto-Warp will be back online in 10 minutes. The miners get the Red 12 functional, and they launch in pursuit of the Protostar. Gwyn is working to disable the shields, because evil Holo Janeway was actually pretending to be evil, and it's been Holo Janeway the entire time. Holo Janeway gets the holodeck safeties deactivated, and starts beating the crap out of the Diviner, including ripping his tubes of important life juice. This might be the only time where the holodeck safeties being turned off has been a good thing for the heroes of a Star Trek show. The Diviner pleads for his life. His mission to save their people needs to not be for nothing, and Gwyn, once more demanding answers, the Diviner tells her the truth. He's from the future. Their home world still exists. Gwyn freezes Holo Janeway and demands the truth. In the holodeck, the Diviner shows her that the planet of Vanakat today is a paradise, with their people believing they're the only sentient race in the universe. But in the future, Starfleet is going to make first contact, and in doing so will set off a destructive civil war between those on the planet who wish to join Starfleet and the Federation, and those who want to remain to the old ways. The Diviner never really explicitly says what the old ways are, but I'm going to take a page from Space 1999 and assume it's a breeding program of some kind. They're being weird. They're definitely doing eugenics. The Diviner's plan has installed a weapon on the Protostar to destroy Starfleet before first contact ever happens. You see, if the Protostar comes into contact with any Star computer systems, it'll infect the computer systems with a virus, which will turn the Starfleet weapons against one another and destroy themselves. Gwyn now knows the truth. The crew of the Protostar can never go to Starfleet. Dal has beamed over to save Gwyn and is immediately taken out. Good work, Dal. Gwyn leaps at her father, but she is also taken out. Good work, Gwyn. But Zero also came aboard, and to stop the Diviner from hurting his friends, opens up his encounter suit and unleashes his true Medusan form on the, puts it all on the Diviner, driving him mad. Dal tells Gwyn not to look, but Gwyn catches a glimpse of Zero's true form in Dal's badge and collapses in a coma. Gwyn babbles that they can't go, and Dal doesn't understand. Zero is distraught at what he's inadvertently done to Gwyn. So distraught that in like 5 episodes' time, he's going to want to become assimilated by the Borg so he doesn't have to deal with his guilt. The miners take Red 12 to return them back to their own homes. The Diviner has been left on exile on Tars Lamora, hopefully with some food and supplies, because otherwise they'd basically just left him to die. Gwyn is slowly recovering, but she has forgotten the dangerous secret of the Protostar, which is not great timing since Dal has set the Protostar on a direct course to Starfleet. Meanwhile, the real Admiral Janeway and the crew of her ship, the NCC Dauntless, has detected the Protostar's warp signature and has plotted a course to its last known location, Tars Lamora. I'm coming, Chakotay, says Janeway.
So that is 3 minutes 39 over. And do you reckon, Miles, that Janeway actually did have a goth phase?
I don't know. Given what we know about Janeway, I know she definitely had a horse girl phase.
Yeah.
I don't think she went goth. I definitely think she kind of went indie.
Okay.
Janeway definitely has that hung out at trendy coffee shops when they were a teenager kind of look to them.
Wow.
Janeway would definitely be into cottagecore is what I'm saying.
Oh god, probably, yeah. Like, we know she likes gothic fiction, historical fiction, any of those kind of things. So yeah, I think, a proper history nerd kind of person more than the evil hologram Janeway, which I love that is just the default to go, right, okay.
That felt very Grant Morrison.
It did. Did they have that pre-programmed to go, look, if this hologram goes evil, we need to know. So we're just going to, whoever the hologram is, just all black lipstick, whole thing, goth phase. And that way they may not realise, but we'll know.
And we'll have the outfit be as kind of black and kind of as dominatrix and as Chris Claremont as we can get away with by standards and practice.
Well, yeah.
So, like I've said, I think this is one of those few times we've had so far in our own show when the crew actively... Okay, in Star Trek, they're doing a Starfleet all the time. But I feel this is one of those this demands notice. Because these guys are not Starfleet, but they plan to do a Starfleet.
Yeah, there's a lot more aspirational kind of doing a Starfleet. I mean, I wonder if that's something that we'll end up picking up on with Starfleet Academy when that comes out. These people they're not Starfleet, but that good intent pushes it a bit further of like, oh, they're really trying. Even Dal,
who, again, I know I ask this every time we do a Prodigy episode, because Dal is not your favorite, because like he's kind of the poochy, scrappy. I kind of go with the kind of street rat thing, like very Aladdin or Ezra Bridger in Star Wars Rebels. So how was Dal for you in this episode?
He was fine. My favourite part of it, I think, was the miners and the translators. It was one of those brilliant Star Trek solutions to a Star Trek problem. Because back in the pilot of this, which we covered many, many episodes ago, the inability for anyone to communicate with anyone else was what kept everyone isolated and kept them kind of looking inwards and being a bit selfish. It's where, when you heard Rocktop originally, she didn't sound like she does normally. She sounded rock monstery. But actually breaking through that and going, the moment these miners can all communicate with each other, oh shit, yeah, great, you're a person. Yeah. I empathise with a person, and
I have always loved you.
Oh, that was adorable seeing all of that happen. God, I just listening to John Noble's voice in this, because I mainly remember him in Fringe. Like, obviously he's been in Lord of the Rings, he's been in numerous things, but as Walter Bishop, especially near the end, there was a definite frailty to the way that he communicated a lot of the time. But he is a better Emperor Palpatine than Emperor Palpatine, voice-wise. I want him to do the voice of the Emperor now.
I mean, that would be good. Do you know he was briefly the voice of the Emperor in the Clone Wars cartoon?
Ooh.
Tim Curry.
Oh my god. That's, again, a brilliant pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, got to love a bit of Tim Curry. And actually, we're just at the 30th anniversary of his infamous space clip, which I had to rewatch for it, and it's just, so joyous, so weird. But yeah, it felt like a good two-parter to kind of go, yeah, this is a big escalation of the action and a change to the status quo.
This is a good mid-season finale.
I don't know if it was the same over in America, but over here we only got half of it, and then a big gap, and then the rest of it. And this was where it's...
Yeah, I think so. The physical media release, which I now feel very wise to have picked up.
Yeah, thanks Paramount.
Was episodes 1 to 10 on one kind of set, and then episodes 11 to 20 on the second set.
I only saw these episodes yesterday. And day before yesterday. And that's because I was confident in going, yeah, Netflix has them all. You know, they got the rights to. No, just season 2.
No.
So yeah, I have a copy on its way to me, but yeah, I found a way.
You have a shoplifter on retainer.
Who doesn't have a shoplifter on retainer? But yeah, so I did manage to just about see them in time, and we're still short on seeing some of the episodes from this first half, but they get Starfleet uniforms. They're a bit pajama-like, but...
It's Star Trek. You know, you could put their uniforms into pajama, not pajama. Like TNG, pajama. DS9 Voyager, pajama. Original movies, awesome, in its own category. Sorry, no, the burgundy maroon ones from like Star Trek 2 onwards. Awesome. Own category. Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Yeah,
Pajamas.
disco pajamas.
Disco pajamas. Yeah, I enjoy a good, the team comes together to come up with a plan. And that old standby of, oh, we planned this all out, but we're going to play along.
Yeah, sometimes that can seem cheap, but as someone that's, I think tomorrow I'm running my 17th session of Blades in the Dark campaign, of which I've run like 3 or 4 campaigns so far. I'm getting used to actually, this looks bad, but boom, flashback! Or like, yeah, actually, we planned for this.
So is this a better heist episode than that one episode of Picard we did?
I mean, that was half a heist, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
easily. Also, Starfleet, it's not a good time, not a good look for Starfleet with all of this. Between, if we take John Noble at his word and go, oh yeah, these people, everything got obliterated because of Starfleet, and we know that that's not really going to be the case. And like looking at the badge, specifically the Starfleet badge causing Gwyn's mind to snap, seeing the reflection of Zero and their like cosmic horror.
That bit was great.
Oh,
the whole bit when Zero just takes off the encounter suit.
I mean, they had to at some point.
Yeah, I remember the Medusan flight because that was one of the TOS episodes I remember seeing as a kid when it was on BBC Two. I can't remember what it's called because Spock has to telepathically communicate with the Medusan. It has to wear these funky red shades.
Ooh.
But due to reasons that, and like the Medusan is behind a screen. And at one point, Spock goes behind the screen and forgets the glasses. And Kirk's like, shit, Spock! And then Spock goes mad, which, you know, it's Tuesday for Spock.
Well, yeah. Yeah, any original series thing, someone's going mad at some point. It's just often the antagonist, occasionally a member of the crew. Yeah, overall, I think this was good fun. There was a moment at the end where the hologram Janeway was saying about, these little prodigies, and I was like, hey, that's the name of the show.
We get a title drop.
Yeah. Yeah, because this isn't Star Trek Protostar, which...
No.
I still find a rubbish name, but, you know.
Yeah, you know, again, it's Star Trek. You know, it's, you know, the names for the technobabble isn't always the best.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Said the guy who's a lifelong fan of the series where the sonic screwdriver is a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is one of those cases where I watch this, I'm like, all those people of my generation who hold up the cartoons we watched as kids as being like very much better. I'm like, no, mate. Like the original 80s Transformers cartoon is a nice bit of nostalgia, but it's kind of shit.
Yeah, no offense to our listeners that are big fans of that, but I tried watching the old Transformers cartoon as an adult, and I just can't.
Like the 80s comic of the time was a lot better, but the 80s cartoon, the movie is fun. It's still very much a very basic level space adventure toy cartoon in space. It's just that we, the fans, get really kind of, you know, the fact that Optimus Prime dies in a very traumatizing way in the first 20 minutes, as somehow that equal good. It's a very kind of Snyder Bro attitude to fiction where characters getting gruesomely killed equals deep.
It feels like the analysis of a fan in their 20s that experienced it as a kid, you know, of your angry video game nerd or nostalgia critic level kind of person. And it was horrifying and traumatizing as a small child, and is kind of cool that they would go that far just to release a new toy line.
I mean, the animation is great, and the soundtrack is incredibly, like, metal heavy.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it's like, the fact that you can get away with a lot more in kid shows these days in ways which I think sometimes people of our generation take a bit for granted because we're not the target audience.
Well, I mean, that's what it's interesting seeing people that were kids in the late 90s and the aughts talking about the cartoons that they loved and going, I know none of it is for me, but I'm pleased that there are future ones of those. Like, they have their own nostalgia rather than the fear, which I always have of a lot of future media is just going to be the older people's nostalgia, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say, as we're talking about a Star Trek show for kids based on a property from the 60s and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not delve too far down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're just going to become incredibly disgruntled.
Yes. So, before we do that, we should bring up our big old list. Now, because of the airing dates, these numbers are going to be possibly slightly odd, but we have 182 entries on here. Our number one spot is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. We have, it'd be 91 would be our halfway point.
Yeah.
With Whom Gods Destroy and Garth of Izar's glam rock band. A really fun, very silly episode for the original series, and a hidden little reference in the Star Trek Adventures RPG session that I did, but no one got other than me, and I'm fine with that. And finally, at the very bottom, we have Star Trek Section 31, which is just bad. Like, the more I hear about people go, oh yeah, Paramount basically changed a bunch of it and decided we want to try and get the MCU watching crowd in. And it's like,
no.
Not going to do that with this. Like, the MCU crowd is generally going, oh, the MCU's not any good anymore. Every film, even if some of them are right.
I don't know. I'm behind on the I think the last MCU film I watched was, I think it was Guardians 3.
Yeah, Guardians 3 was good fun. Thunderbolts is the most recent one I saw when that came onto digital, and
yeah,
it's good. I forget who it was that I saw on Blue Sky posting about what Guardian 3 is to trauma, Thunderbolts is to depression.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's astute. That's very much... Yeah, I get that. But anyway, back to our list. So, at our halfway point, we do have Whom Gods Destroy with the glam rock band.
Yep.
Yeah, is this better than that?
Oh, man. I mean, it has less actually, no. I mean, does this still have Amdram? Because they're all pretending to be doomed.
Yeah, I mean, they do have some dramatics in it, you know. Admit, I did have... Actually, just to sidetrack again, I did have to look up when they mentioned the pus hog. Hang on, is this actual Star Trek lore? Yes, Neelix is pus hog, which is not his penis.
I mean, admittedly, this is the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy I've watched since that one season of Taskmaster that Jason Mantzoukis is in.
Oh, it is so difficult hearing him and not thinking of Taskmaster.
I don't know. I think Jason Mantzoukis brought in a very Jakim Pog attitude to Taskmaster, which is destroy at all costs.
Yes. Yeah. He was so good at that. And it does feel like Jakim Pog's energy in general is very much of that vibe. God, I feel I like Whom Gods Destroy. And we've said before this is a top-heavy list, but it's possibly better.
Yeah. After the glam silliness, Whom Gods Destroy is, it's good, but not great.
Yeah, like the drama of it isn't really as interesting as the daftness of Garth of Izar and Batgirl being in it. Okay, up a couple more spots on a similar thing. We've got at 89, the Enterprise incident, where Kirk and Spock do some acting and prank some Romulans.
Oh, that's difficult. Although
it's strangely comparable.
I mean, Kirk getting some Metal Gear Solid his way around a Romulan starship.
That was good. Yeah.
I think the Enterprise incident might be a lot more fun because it is incredibly daft.
Yes. Yeah, both have some similar moments, but the Enterprise incident is sillier in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay. And between them, we have The Stars at Night with Shax's second best day. He got to eject that warp core.
Never make me go up against Shax's second best day. Man, I think this one might be a little bit better because I feel there's some fantastic dramatic beats.
Oh god, yeah.
The crew coming together, Zero unleashing himself on the Diviner, and then just the gut punch of Gwyn catching the sight of him in the badge.
Oh, it's so sad. But yeah.
And just like all the John Noble.
Yeah, all the John Noble. And I don't know what it was. Hearing hologram Janeway and then hearing actual literal Janeway, it did feel like Kate Mulgrew was doing a bit of a different voice with them. Like, you could feel enough of a difference to go, oh, that's Janeway. Oh, that's that hardened killer.
This is Holo Jane. We got Holo Janeway, who's a bit more kind of chipper and, for the kids, and Admiral Janeway, who's like older and like, I have done some shit.
Yeah.
I have done some shit I'm not proud of, and I may have murdered a Tuvix, which I'm at the time I thought would never cause anyone any more problems down the road.
And yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that put this at the new number 90.
Yep.
On our list.
Yep, I'm good for that.
Nice. Okay.
Alright, shall we crack on?
Yeah, let's. So, our second episode is Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 1, titled Tuvix, but to the number. Do you see? Yeah, this aired on the 7th of September 2023, written by Mike McMahon and directed by Barry J. Kelly and Jason Zurek. The number one hits are both ones we've discussed before here. Olivia Rodrigo's Vampire for the UK and Oliver Richmond Music in the US with North of Richmond. And yeah, one of these is good. The other one is Oliver Richmond Music. I assume Music is his surname there.
I think so.
But yeah, sadly, it doesn't make it better.
No. Oliver Richmond Music just sounds like, you know how you have like Bruce Springsteen Band?
Oh yeah.
Oliver Richmond Music just sounds like the Pound Shop equivalent. You have like your Pound Shop equivalents of G.I. Joes, and they're like combat men, and they're clearly not painted correctly, so they look like they've been in horrific wars.
Yeah, we had a few of those back as kids when we used to get cheap like Star Wars or G.I. Joe action figures and paint them up to be our own characters, and occasionally take crafting knives to them. We had an old Boba Fett that got a real treatment with the Warhammer resources from us.
Nice.
Yeah, whenever people got too precious at the comic shop about Star Wars action figures, and like, I wish I'd have kept all mine in boxes like some joyless accountant, being able to explain what I did to mine was... Okay, so before I dig myself deeper...
Charlie, are you ready to take that cheese to sickbay?
Oh, yeah.
I admit I was watching this with Rihanna yesterday, and I had to go, okay, so that cheese, that's the cheese that they had to take to sickbay in the opening of the show, which we still haven't done that episode.
God, we should do it at some point.
All right, okay, ready?
Yep.
All right, you have 2.5 minutes to get that cheese to sickbay. And begin.
So, the Cerritos is on a classified mission. Ooh, secretive. Hopefully nothing involving Romulans. Ransom tells Boimler that it's promotion time real soon and he's a dead cert for Lieutenant Junior grade as long as he doesn't fuck this up. Of course, we all know what that means, right? Anyway, that secret mission, do you know what it is? It's a treat! They're towing Voyager to Earth, where it's going to be a museum piece for a bit. Cue the Voyager theme, and then the opening credits. The lower deckers have to clean everything on Voyager up, because let's face it, it got a bit messy. All under the eyes of Beljo Tweakle, voiced by Andy Richter. He's a very particular person, especially when Rutherford starts prying things open and trying to get a look at the biogel, because that's kind of cool to an engineer. A suspicious flower petal drops from a container and gets into the transporter with Billups and Tahana, causing a Tuvix-style body merge. Oh no, now they're Taillups! What, of course, everyone knows an incident that happened exactly like this on Voyager, and Freeman's going to have a look and see how Janeway solved it. Everyone else is a bit awkward about this because they all know what J-Dubs did. Over on Voyager, a macrovirus is hiding behind a wall. It gets out, replicates itself, and is spraying everywhere with its goo. Worse, the holograms of Chaotica, Michael Sullivan, and the evil clown from the Thor are generated, with security settings set to random. Why is there a random security setting on the holodeck? Freeman finds out that Janeway killed Tuvix like a stone-cold badass right before Tillips finds out and has a real freak out about it. They're not convinced that they'll be fixed properly, because, they're not convinced by anyone that we're not in Delta Quadrant, we will fix this without murder. But Tillips, still freaking out, decides to start making a bunch of stuff into Tuvixes, starting with Freeman and Miglimo. Tendi and T'Lyn talk about the original Tuvix problem, when a group of Tuvixes storm 10 forward, abduct more people to make into Tuvixes. Voyager's not doing much better as the macroviruses get all borged up and spreading goo on everything.
I am sorry.
Oh no, did goo get on you?
I got cheesed.
Oh.
I'm starting to think that Janeway may have had a legitimate point for many reasons. Because, the moment these Tuvixes reach the Alpha Quadrant, they start causing shit immediately.
Yeah. It's justified. Anyway, we'll get into that after the recap, definitely.
Right, I am setting the clock. Okay, and continue.
So yeah, the macrovirus is even gooing up the crew while they're on Voyager. Boimler finds Mariner and tries to de-goo her and explains he's having a real crisis of confidence about getting a promotion and leaving his friends behind. Mariner reveals that she's the one that recommended him to Ransom. A Tuvix army is being made now, and T'Lyn transports them into the brig, merging them into a huge, horrible flesh Katamari. Boimler rescues Rutherford and tells him, we've got to do something unthinkable, we've got to sabotage Voyager with something. Tendi works out where each person is within the flesh Katamari and how to separate them. The biology is all fucked up, but the personalities are still in there and divisible. Chaotica captures Boimler, who pretends that is Captain Proton's son, hamming it up, which delays things while Rutherford can use Neelix's cheese to shut them down. Just like in an episode we've not seen yet, I really hope that isn't literally Neelix's cheese. Things are a wreck, but Voyager is free. The cheese shuts things down, the holograms go, the macroviruses can get sorted out, and now a new bit has to get added to Voyager to show this bit of history that all happened today. The ship arrives at Earth to be a nice museum piece for a while. The senior staff are unmerged, and to just sweep any awkwardness under the rug, they have a medal-giving ceremony to promote people. Boimler, he's got it. He's a lieutenant junior grade, and so's Tendi, and so's Mariner. Rutherford's kind of at peace with this for now. And, Mariner isn't. She is very upset about getting promoted, but Ransom's not having any of it. He's not going to fail her, and he's not going to let her get her way out of this one. After some initial concern that they're not going to be lower decks anymore, the group are reminded that they are the second lowest rank on the ship. They don't even get the leeway that ensigns get anymore. Yeah, it's time to cue chanting lower decks and drinking. And elsewhere, on a Klingon ship, there's some arguments, and an unknown vessel blows them up. That's going to be the Season 4 thing, so we'll dip in and out of it. And that's it.
And then Mariner's self-destructive personality will come into swift action when she and Ransom meet the Moopsie, which is the next episode.
Oh, yeah, it is.
We watched this last night, and we did have to go and then watch the next episode, because it's been a while since we watched the Moopsie, who did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Unlike all those Tuvixes, who did a lot wrong.
They really did. So, I thought that this was going to be something that tried to redeem the whole Tuvix situation. And I feel that Janeway is even more justified. She couldn't have dealt with this in the Delta Quadrant. What if Tuvix started Tuvixing people?
It pretty helps you got, it's just those different personalities at work, but it's just what would happen if you accidentally Tuvixed, I don't know, Harry Kim and Tom Paris?
I mean, it'd certainly make that future where Harry married Tom's daughter even more awkward than it already was.
There was a lot of fun in this episode.
Yeah,
Although, thank you for the term flesh Katamari.
yeah, it's ended up coming into use a couple of times in RPGs, and that is very much what this is. It is a horrid ball of flesh and bits that all kind of merges together and sounds like it's in pain.
Yeah, it's very much a Cronenberg.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how they fix this, and while it is nice and convenient going, okay, no, the personality bits, all of this, I guess in a way it redeems some of what is done to undo Tuvix, to go, oh yeah, this is still just them, so they were Tuvix, but
I like the thing where Tendi has like a lot of moral regrets about the idea of separating to Billups, until the point where it's our old adage of 2 people is a tragedy, 100 people is a statistic. When everyone and a dolphin have been merged together in a flesh Katamari, you can go, okay, I'm morally okay with this, because it looks like they're in legitimate pain.
yeah, with Schwellens.
Not my best work.
No. That's the thing, like, I think while Tailups goes through an arc and goes through issues with this, the fact that we don't see a huge amount of the others aside from just the gag of what are all these things and like when they're merged. I think that's all we need to see.
Yeah. Unfortunate gags while watching it is that the bit when Shax comes up to Ellipse and goes, do you remember any of the physical stuff? Gilligan cut. I'm just like, and then they fucked.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that.
See, that's gonna be one of Riker's regrets, that during his career he didn't get to fuck a merged entity of 2 of his crew.
Yeah, do you think Riker regrets not fucking his transporter double?
Probably. I mean, we've not seen that episode yet. There may be a point where he does. It's like, look, you've got to take these opportunities where you get them.
Look, Diana, this is on my list.
I know what I'm like. You know, it would be an honor for me.
Look, if this is how I die, if I have to die having sex with a Tuvix of Worf and Wesley Crusher.
Oh, God. And you picked the boy. As funny as them being merged would be, again, there's those questions of, is this an adult or a boy?
Well, I'm talking about, like, adult Wesley.
Adult
Traveler Wesley.
Okay.
Because clearly this is after Tuvixing has happened, so it's later on in, he's unstuck in time at this point. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a point, again, with Miles has to explain weird Trek lore to his wife. She found the robot salamanders kind of cute. And I'm like, oh, of course. You don't know about Threshold.
They were very cute, though.
They were very cute. It's just like, okay, so this is what happened. So, yes, they're cute, but they're also horrifying. Like a tribute.
Yeah, I did like all of, even though I can get a bit, I don't know, just bored and annoyed with
the referencing.
Yeah, when references get too much. The idea of going, this is a museum. Like, Voyager it's been replaced in the fleet anyway. Yeah. But yeah, this is going to be a museum. We have these mannequins and all of these different things. It's like, okay, like there is an actual in-story reason for all of this. And yeah, when everyone's like, oh no, we know what happened with Tuvix. Well, again, there are probably papers about it all, right? A lot happened to that shit.
I am sure, like, the moment they got home, like, day 2 was basically Janeway going, okay, so I had salamander babies. We had a Tuvix. And, okay, because you know that the moment they find...
Let's walk that back. A Tuvix is when? Yeah, the debrief must have lasted weeks with Janeway. Of like, and that was the first month. By the way, this Harry Kim isn't the original Harry Kim, but is a Harry Kim from an alternate reality. It's best we not delve deeper than that.
At least we're thankful it's not like in Season 3 of Farscape, when John Crichton is split into 2 exact clones of himself.
Oh, I kind of loved that. Especially going affirm they are both identical. There isn't one that's the clone and one that's the other, because you know something bad's probably going to happen to one of them, and he's just as much a Crichton as the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Oh, Farscape, my love.
The thing I love most about Farscape is that Ben Browder is the most square-jawed, like, pulp, two-fisted hero. But by the end of the first season, he is a nervous breakdown waiting to happen. He is actually not legitimately insane.
Yeah, and that just increases. At start of season 4, where he's been alone on Moya for ages with just one of the little DRDs, and is just, like, full hermit beard and all that. It's like, good. I was worried that he'd be a bit too normal protagonist-like in the pilot episode.
He'd be a bit too Buck Rogers and insane. It's like, no.
No, he's been through one too many of those Dan Dare reboots.
Oh, God. But that's what I was going to get back to. You know that the moment the Starfleet science nerds find out that Tuvixing happened, they're replicating what happened.
Yeah, just to see.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those petals?
Well, they do, so clearly. It's like this is great Tumblr post that the reason why humans are just so strange to the Vulcans is that they'll just blow shit up just to see what happens.
We've seen with Enterprise, the Vulcan methodology is a lot more, we'll observe this planet from a distance. While the humans are like, yeah, party, let's go down there. Let's push these buttons on this ancient technology. Yeah, we're like lemmings, the video game lemmings, not literal ones.
Like, the humans will probably just throw stuff into a warp core to see what happens. And I think the best part is, like, you know, in this post, like, the idea of the humans going to Vulcan, can we have a second warp core? We blew up the first one. We just wanted to see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, you know, they're going to sit down and go, okay, so we found out that this thing called Tuvix happened in the Delta Quadrant. So, look under your seat. Everyone has a raffle ticket. We're just going to pull it from the big hat, and you two get to be Tuvixed.
That's right. We think we know how to put you back now.
But see, that's the thing. And then we're going to take you, then you're going to go back to your lives, and we're going to work out the moral implications. And then we're just going to separate you.
We've got questionnaires about your history before and afterwards, just in case any memories accidentally cross over, or like a thorough physical to make sure no body parts went for the wrong person.
Okay, now, first of all, do you consent to be recorded 24/7 for scientific purposes? Because, again, as you've established, Starfleet is full of Dan Dare types and just crazy science weirdos who will just plug in an espresso machine to a warp core, just in case you ever need to plug an espresso machine into a warp core to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh god, right, the coffee just shot through the ship. Got a hole going from the warp core to the outside.
What happens if coffee attains warp 10?
Look,
Will that mutate?
I know some coffee people. I'm sure they would want, like, yeah, let's power this up.
Look, people drink coffee, which is derived from a bean, which is derived from cat poo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, someone is going to stick an Americano into a ship going warp 10 and then go, yeah, we're just going to drink it.
No. Here's an idea. Get the constituent parts and some of the little Tuvix petals and beam them, and it's like a great way of getting it all melded together.
Okay, so do you know the history of why an Americano exists?
Go on.
Okay, so how you drink espresso is cup of espresso, glass of water. Take a sip, cleanse the palate. But post-World War II, you had a whole bunch of American GIs in Europe and Italy going, hey, why can't we just put the water in the espresso and just make a goddamn American cup of coffee? And so they started doing that, and thus Americano was created. So what you have basically just suggested by taking the constituent parts of a coffee and then Tuvixing it to see what happens is, congratulations, you have just made the world's most morally compromised cup of Americano coffee.
The Tuvixado.
Good job, you. Starbucks will be wanting to hire me back after this.
Oh, God. I mean, yeah, just that idea of, okay, we're brewing it through the transporter. I figure would be a fun way.
I mean, given that the replicator is basically a transporter for food,
Yeah. Oh, God, what would happen if you put the petals in the replicator?
Oh, God. Oh, no, God. The food will scream, "Don't kill me. I deserve to live."
Probably. Yeah.
Brilliant. You've Tuvix my quarter pounder.
Personally, I like coming out of this still going, yeah, Janeway was right.
Janeway was right. Again, I had to explain the whole Tuvixing thing to Rihanna, and it's just like, yeah, a lot of people just kind of trash Janeway for doing it. But again, if Kirk or Picard or Cisco had done it, what they would be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be celebrating it, going, oh, making the hard decisions.
They would be salivating while rubbing their trousers like Bob Mortimer in an episode of Shooting Stars. That might be one of our more obscure British references, oh well, over how brave and willing to compromise their morals these hard, tough men were.
Definitely. Yeah.
Hashtag Janeway did nothing wrong. Tuvix had it coming.
Damn straight. Yeah, I did have to check cast-wise whether the clown was still voiced by the same guy from Better Call Saul and Short Circuit too, but no, sadly not.
The classics.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, does Paul F. Tompkins actually say anything as Miglimo in this episode?
Barely anything.
Okay, because you know that if a character appears in a cartoon and they're not saying anything, they don't actually have to pay the actor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure I don't know. Actually, yeah, is he just gagged in it? Yeah.
He's present and then he's gagged. I don't think he has a speaking role yet.
48 hours and yeah. If he did, it is blink and you miss it. But he is credited.
Oh, he's actually credited in the episode.
He is actually credited.
Okay, then maybe he did.
Something must have been said at some point.
Oh, I didn't know Nolan North was in this.
Yeah. Mass Effect's own Nolan North as Tillip.
I know him best as Superman / Con-El from Young Justice. Because he plays Con-El and also plays Superman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see him doing Superman, alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find him, even though my first playthrough of Mass Effect was Man Shepard, the delivery is wooden enough that I decided to make that part of my Shepard's personality. Like, that was pure straight shooting Paragon Shepard.
Okay, so in terms of wooden, is he better or worse than Peter Dinklage in Destiny?
I mean, he is not that bad. Like, okay. He is a proper person that does video game voiceovers.
Okay.
While Dinklage, bless him, he's a good actor, but he's not good at all in Destiny.
Voice acting is difficult because, especially, I think we've said, sometimes with a lot of these shows, you're just in a room speaking lines to, like, a guy in a booth.
Yeah.
You're basically doing this off Clem Fandango.
So, yeah, with that, where are we going to be putting Tuvix with a 2? Oh, how much was I over?
Oh, hang on. You were over 2 minutes 38.
Yeah, fair.
Alright, let's see. Now, of course, I do feel we have to mention that Tuvix is number 61 on our big list.
Yeah.
Threshold is number 60 on our big list. I don't think this is those heights.
No, I love Tuvix. I think while this is good, it would be nothing without that. And, this is playing in that field.
Oh, one of my favorite kind of side bits is Ransom. And what's the name of the Temerian who is the security chief?
Oh, God, yeah.
Kayshawn,
yes.
I love the part where Ransom was frustrated and did a Temerian, and Kayshawn was like, "Oh,
yeah.
Oh, bestie."
Yeah, things like that, like showing in an episodic comedy show the evolution of not only friendships like that, but remembering how late an addition T'Lyn was, and the way that her friendship with Tendi develops as well.
I love the addition to T'Lyn is great.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, when you dramatically change up an ensemble, like, there is that risk of you might kind of ruin it. Like, Red Dwarf, the early stuff when it's kind of Lister, Rimmer, and the cat. And also Holly. And then with the third season on, when it's Lister, Rimmer, the cat, and Crichton, and Holly. It really does change up the dynamics, even if the cat sometimes is left struggling for stuff to do, except to have, like, snarky one-liners.
Yeah, the same with It's Always Sunny. Adding Danny DeVito in the second season of it was a perfect move. And while the first season still has some fun moments, it needed Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
It really did. But yeah, okay. Having a look on here, in 86, we have The Forsaken with Loxana Troy pursuing Odo And
wanting a mason jar of Odo.
yeah. I'm shocked that they didn't release some kind of merchandise, which was, here's a little bucket of Odo.
I mean, I would buy it.
Exactly. Get on that.
I am a consumer whore, and how?
Yeah, because above that, we've got things like Where Pleasant Fountains Lie in Carbon Creek. And for Forsaken is good.
I think this one is better. It is
Yeah.
like the bits with Odo and Luxana are very delightful.
Yeah.
Because it is like the most outgoing character in Star Trek meets the most repressed. Like, you know that if Spock met Odo, Spock be thinking, shit, that guy needs to open up and get some friends.
Yeah, God. And above that with Carbon Creek, I think that's just a nice solid fourth of science fiction there.
Yeah. I think Carbon Creek is probably better than this because, like, Carbon Creek is a damn good, and even though it's not really an Enterprise F, that could basically be a Twilight Zone or an Outer Limits. Like, some aliens have to blend in small town America, for better or worse. But, like, it's great.
Cool. So that would put this at the new 86. So yeah, we've got some fairly middle of the list things here, but that's...
We've had 1 or 2 episodes where we just did some real stinkers in quick succession.
Yes.
Again, like you, I do worry that if we're not careful, we're going to have, like, the latter half of the show is just us going, fucking kill us.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Like, it will just be episodes of us going, okay, so in today's Picard retrospective...
Yeah, we'll just go, this episode, this number, there. There, job done. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll be able to see both good and bad, and in this case, good, but ultimately on our list, middling, because there are good things all at once. But yeah, excellent. Well, that's it for us this week, and because of current recording schedules, I'm not sure what's next week. It might be us talking about the Khan podcast. Yeah, it's been interesting, especially as a fan of Lost.
Have you listened to the new episode yet?
No.
No.
Of course not. I'll get round to it one day.
Us, kicking our executive dysfunction to the curb? I wish.
Madness. Yeah, that's the thing. How much of this is our general casualness with Star Trek? How much this is our basic inability to do most things?
I mean, it is a basic inability.
Yeah. Oh, well. But with that, you can find us on Blue Sky at casualtrek.bsky.social and also on kofi.com/casualtrek, where you can throw some money in our coffers and, suggest a theme or an idea Star Trek-wise, and we will have to build an episode all around that. Miles, where can the good folks find you?
Well, they can find me at my Blue Sky account at milesreedlabato.bsky.social or at my blog at mareedlabato.wordpress.com. Hopefully, it'll be updated soon. I do have some plans.
Ooh,
and
excellent.
We have our show social media at casualtrek.bsky.social, which I am trying to kind of zap more life into to keep off doom scrolling and keep off my own account. We'll see.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, God, and we have our Facebook page as well, which, again, we will try and do things with, especially for people that listen and don't check us out on Spotify. I generally put a poll on each of these episodes just to see if anyone will vote for things. So this time it'll probably be which of those different holographic or macrobiotic things would you be killed by? Not you, Miles, you the listener.
I know I'm going to get shanked by Harry Kim with a clarinet.
Yeah, that's fair. We've talked a lot of shit about him. Yeah.
Well, then he shouldn't have married a 2-year-old in an alternate timeline.
Yeah, damn it, alternate future Harry.
And Charlie, where can the good folks find you?
Well, I am on Blue Sky at skyshark.itch.io, and I am also on skyshark.itch.io, where I have links to varied RPG and comic things, what I have done. If you were a backer of the Work in Progress WIP anthology, then you will have seen a comic that I've done on a single page of the digital version, which hopefully will be the start for, often contributing to it, because it was a really fun experience to do. I got to do a comic about a lighthouse, and it was horrifying.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. Other than that, talk about X-Men and 2000 AD generally all over the place. I'm sorry, relatives, if any of you actually listen. But yeah, you can always mute me if you want. But yeah, meanwhile, do like the crew of the Protostar and go do a Starfleet.
And live long and have a jelly baby. Or alternatively, live long and have some nice cheese. But make sure you don't end up in a fleshed Damacy.
Yes, yeah. Avoid being a flesh Katamari if possible.
God, that tune just gets in your head.
Oh, it's so good. I love that soundtrack, that whole set. I have it on my iPhone, because sometimes you just need to hear the Katamari Damacy soundtrack.
I think we might have it on vinyl.
Oh my god. Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, your little face lit up with pure childlike glee.
I'm just imagining it green for some reason,
course
like
you
the
are.
prince.
All right.
You have been listening to Casual Trek, a Nerd and Tie podcast, presented by Charlie Etheridge Nunn and Miles Reed Labato. Music by Alfred Etheridge Nunn. Edited by the hosts and by Rhianna Reed Labato. Star Trek is owned by Paramount. Not us. Not yet.